All right, guys, welcome back to Ozark Mountain Garage. Just wanted to give you a real quick update. I'm doing a 2000 S10 three-door short bed step side LS swap. It's a 4.8 Vortec, what people refer to as LS. It's pretty tight. I got my radiator in, the motor's in. Yeah, still got some wiring to do, but I wanted to discuss braided lines. These braided lines for your fuel lines or transmission lines. Anyway, let me show you what I ran into. So I watched a couple of different videos, and in one video, guy shows you this fitting here and shows you how you take it apart. Sorry, a little close. Take this apart. What you do is you slip this piece on to the hose, and then this piece here slides in, screws it in on there. You want to make sure you put some oil on the threads, a little bit on here, and just smear it around before you try to shove it in. But the problem that I ran into, I was watching a video. Let me set this up a little straighter. There we go. I was watching a video that says, oh yeah, just shove it on the hose, screw it on, try to screw it on, try to work that end in. I use a grinder to cut it also. I wrapped it with a piece of tape. Wrapped the hose with a piece of tape, cut it with the grinder, pulled it off. And one guy had really good advice. Take some sharp wire cutters or scissors and trim off any little excess that's hanging off the end to give you a better opportunity to get it to fit in there. But one of the things that I found is one guy saying, yeah, shove it up in there, and then don't worry too much. Let's see if I can see that angle. If you can see that lip in there, you get it better lighting. You see that lip in there, right there behind the threads? That's where the hose is supposed to butt up against. And I listened to one guy and he goes, oh yeah, don't worry about shoving all the way up in there. It'd be hard to get your fitting on, because once you screw the other end in, it's going to pull it up on there. I thought, man, okay, that's cool. Well, I did the first one, and I went to do the one by the motor. I did the return line back by the tank, and I got up there by the motor. I didn't really like the way the one felt in the back, and so I did the same thing on the one by the motor, and then I backed it off to see if it actually pulled the line into the hose up into the fitting. It didn't budge it. And so my advice would be, make sure when you get your hose in there, when you shove your hose in, one of the things that helped me, so this end, it's got metal and anyway, I can't remember, fiberglass. It's not fiberglass. Anyway, it's a braided line on the outside. This line right here. This line right here, your braided fuel line. Anyway, when you go to shove that thing up on there, regardless how clean it is, it tends to want to start pushing the nylon. It's a nylon braided hose on the outside. It tends to push the nylon back. So if you'll take a small screwdriver, and once you shove that hose up in there, just work it on four corners. Just break it into quarters. Shove that screwdriver down on the top, holding pressure. What I did is I found a hard, flat surface, and I had the hose into the fitting like this, and shoved it up against a hard surface. And while holding it there, I took my screwdriver, worked in on the top as I'm shoving in on it, and just kind of worked my way around it until I shoved it up on in there, and just shoved against a hard surface until it butted up inside against that flange just before you get to these outer threads. Make sure it's all the way up against that face in there, because when I threaded this piece into it, it did not pull the hose into it. It was still back out there, right where it was before I started shoving this in and trying to tighten it down. So just food for thought. That's what worked for me. I used a little screwdriver to help me get all four edges in as I'm pushing on it, because I've got a fairly good grip, and and I was shoving in on it and twisting. It's just pushing that braided nylon part back, and it wasn't going in. So once you shove it in there a little bit, go ahead and get your screwdriver and push down that edge, shove it in past that lip on 4 corners, and then you can start shoving it in there by hand. Find your hard surface, and you should be able to shove it all the way up in there, and then start turning that until it butts up. And you will have a little bit of it won't be real easy to get this in, but it's not that bad. But with a little bit of oil on the threads and that tip, you'll be able to shove that thing in there, keep pressure against it, and start twisting it. And as soon as those threads bite, you can put your wrenches on there and tighten it up. The other issue I had is I've got these wrenches that I bought. It's 6AN, 8AN, 10AN, and 12AN. And so I bought 4 of them a kit, thinking, oh, this will be all I need to make sure my fittings stay nice and clean. Not true. 6AN, 8AN. If you notice, this is 8AN here. Doesn't work on either one. 6AN, too small for that. 6AN, too small for that. So your ANs go from 6 to 8. Doesn't fit on these fittings. So if you want to get these fittings in and on your fuel lines and make sure they're really clean, spend the $38 on a crescent wrench, and you're gonna have to buy 2, so you're gonna spend almost $80. But if you want it to look really nice, I would suggest just getting the adjustable wrenches that have it's kind of like a brake line. It's got a notch, a corner, rather than just flat crescent wrench. It's got a corner in it, with the corners cut out a little bit so that it doesn't grab the corners and round them off. But yeah, that's what I found. I wound up having to use 2 crescent wrenches to tighten this down, and then also when I run this line in to hold backup on it, I could use the 6AN on this end of it. 6AN fits fine, but the other end that you're tightening to, I had to use the 5/8 end wrench. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and order the 2 adjustable crescent wrenches that look like you've seen the box in brake line wrenches. It looks like that. It's got almost looks like the shape of a stop sign, and one end's open, so it adjusts, and you're grabbing all flat sides on your fitting. Anyway, I hope this helps you, and you can avoid some of the issues I ran into. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a blessed day.